Welcome to this day for this Friday. It's August 28th, and yay, it's Friday. We made it through the week so far, but we hope you enjoyed the week and enjoyed the show the last couple of days. Well, we do have Jeff Parker joining us today. He is the CEO of Village Management Services, and today we'll be talking about the latest COVID numbers and a couple things that are happening here in your community. Also, life hacks with Lisa Hart. That's going to be a little bit later in the program. A great time to learn how to make a smoothie, and Lisa's going to show us how to do that. So be sure and get your pencil and paper together, and she'll give you a little recipe on how to make a smoothie with these warm temperatures. It's a great opportunity to do that. We don't have any meetings that we know of that are scheduled for today, so hopefully you can catch some of the meetings next week, but nothing for today and I believe tomorrow as well. Well, let's remind you about the OCHealthInfo.com. These are regular resources that we bring you for COVID-19, OCHealthInfo.com, CDC.gov, and then of course COVID19.ca.gov, and that is all the California numbers and the governor's reopening plans. And then of course you can call the county hotline as well if you have want more information regarding what the county is up to at this point regarding COVID. And of course, you can always go locally to our Laguna Woods Village alerts.com, and that is all the information that we post here for Laguna Woods Village. And you can send us an email at info@lagunawoodsvillage.com. Well, let's take you outside. This is a beautiful day that we're going to have today. Temperatures have come down quite a bit. And the best thing about it is the humidity is really dissipated. So beautiful temperatures the next couple of days. If you like it a little warm, beautiful temperatures. But we're looking at a warm day today, a little bit, 85 degrees. And then as you see, temperatures will drop just a few more degrees down to the lower 80s. But we're looking at a beautiful weekend, Saturday and Sunday. That Sunday looks beautiful. Get out there and have yourself a nice walk. And of course, wear your mask, be safe, social distancing, and just kind of enjoy the community, enjoy the surrounding communities as well. There's plenty of trails and walks to do. And with this temperature coming down quite a bit, it should be beautiful. Hey, let's take a look at that sunrise and sunset for today. Sunrise this morning was at 6:23 a.m. And there's a beautiful picture there. Sunset is going to be at 7:21 p.m. this evening. And that picture right there is from Mark Rabinowitz, our local photographer here. And I believe, I'm going to take a chance here and say that's a bluebird. But Mark does a wonderful job. He provides many of the pictures that are in the breeze and also helps us quite a bit as well. So we appreciate all the hard work that Mark does, not only for the community, but also for the Thrive organization. He's a very active member of Thrive, and we appreciate his efforts there as well. Well, we want to make sure that you send us a photo. That's going to be at Laguna Woods Village TV at gmail.com. You have a photo that you maybe traveled or have a photo that you've taken here in our community, be sure and share it with us at Laguna Woods Village TV at gmail.com. We're going to be right back with Jeff Parker and some community information right after this.
My name is Angela. I'm 51 years old and I was diagnosed with a heart murmur. Before the surgery, I was struggling to breathe. I was missing out a lot on playing with my son. I decided to go to Hoag from Nevada to have my mitral valve repair because the surgeons there are excellent.
My personal approach to patient care is really taking care of a patient as if they were a member of my family.
After the surgery, I can chase him and run around and play with him as much as he wants. It's like a miracle. It's like this patient made it through the toughest time in their life, and it's an awesome feeling.
The feeling to see these patients recover, especially when they're critically ill like that, it's just the best feeling in the world.
We wanted this to be one of the top cardiovascular centers in the region, the state, the nation, and to be recognized for that. We've achieved that.
If I had to go back and make the same choice, I would choose Hoag again. They treated me like family. This changed my life, and now I get to be with my son.
At Harvard Eye, we're so happy to be open again to see you for all of your medical and surgical eye care. We're taking great care to protect everyone from COVID-19 by seeing fewer patients, spacing out chairs in the lobby, sanitizing our office constantly, and doing much more. The world is changing a lot, but what hasn't changed is we're honored by your trust and confidence and committed to keeping you safe. We can't wait to see you again.
This is Dr. Trin from Irvine Clinical Research. I hope that during this pandemic that you're doing well and keeping safe. During these times, I want to let you know that we're still offering memory testing at no cost through Healthy Brain consultations. If you or your loved ones have concerns with memory loss, you don't need to leave your home to chat with me. We're offering these consultations online. Call us at 753-1663 to schedule your Healthy Brain consultation video chat. Thank you so much and take care.
Well, Jeff Parker is going to be joining us here on the program. He's your Chief Executive Officer, and we have a kind of a good news really for the COVID report. It looks like we've been on the watch not watch list for a couple of days
5
now.
days now.
That's pretty good.
So it's pretty good. Good morning, Paul. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great. Looking
That's
forward
great.
to a weekend, right?
Yeah, no, almost the end of August,
Yeah,
which
unbelievable.
This calendar year's now seems to be going really, really fast.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of things that are going to be happening here in the next month too here in our community, and we'll share that with some of our residents. But let's talk about some of the COVID numbers. The community, of course, is doing a terrific job.
Right, and still holding steady on our numbers, which is really good, and keeping it nice and low. So appreciate again the community wearing their mask and being protective out there. So as of yesterday, we had 369 cases reported. Again, that seems to be fluctuating. There's one day that it's in the hundreds or 200s and back up to the 300s. But the good news is, that, as you can see on the chart there, the testing positive percentage is at 5%, which is really the goal that the governor and everybody that's involved with the health agencies from the state down to the local level have always been focusing that they can get that at that 5%. That really shows that the positivity rate is a slow progression, kind of the 1-to-1 or less than 1-to-1. So that means that they have much greater strength in identifying it, where it's at, and who's spreading it.
Right.
So I know the governor was supposed to speak today about reopening some of the businesses.
Good.
So we'll see where that goes. I think everybody's obviously concerned that don't overdo it. They also have a holiday coming up in a week, and so that's when they've seen spikes too on the holiday weekends, 4th of July. So when you have Memorial Day and then Labor Day, we'll see how that comes into play. 31% on available beds is good. That number is, and as you indicated, the red number there are 5 days off on the county list or on the state list that the county has no longer been. So that's holding steady and increasing every day, and that's a good thing. The one sad note of all of this reporting, unfortunately, is that they had reported 29 deaths. Which is a big number. That's probably one of the highest numbers we've seen in a one-day total. And I don't know, because I don't have the ability to get in there, whether that's accumulation of 2 or 3 days of numbers. Oftentimes that's the case.
Right.
But that is a pretty big number.
I think I saw that. They said there was a lag in a couple of days in getting that reporting. So
I did look, and those most of those deaths reported, however, are people not in rest homes and not in facilities. So they're people that were in those ICUs.
Right.
And so that's a sad note. But for Orange County, they're getting up pretty high now, almost 1,000 deaths. So that is something that we'll obviously keep an eye on. Don't want to see a whole lot more of that, obviously, and so if we continue, I think, in the productive cases per 100,000 and the positive rate, then we're going to have more beds available and more activity and ability to handle what's out there.
It's interesting, too, the number of days off of the county monitoring list when the threshold is really right around Labor Day.
Right.
So I know that my wife is very involved with the local middle school, and a lot of the people are talking about going back to school on September 8th, which is the day after.
Right.
I believe they'll still kind of work with that staggered schedule. So not all the kids are going to be showing up at 8 o'clock in the morning. They'll actually have some kids show up at 8, some will show up at 9:45, or they'll rotate days. So hopefully we continue to stay on that list there and get us to 15, I think is the threshold. And once they actually start discussing the next phase.
And then they can get into the ideas of opening up other activities.
Right.
I think that's critical to listening to the LA County health officer was talking about even if they do kind of relax some of the restrictions and start to open up, they wanted to go very slowly because of the Labor Day weekend, because they don't want to see a spike and then have plans to get kids back in school the very next day, just like you talked about, and find out that they have a lot of a higher infection rate because of the weekend.
Right.
So I think anybody that's looking at a reopening or bringing kids back ought to be very cautious going into that first week after the.
It'll be interesting to see how they kind of transition that whole process. I know my kids and my wife yesterday got flu shots at the their regular checkup,
Right.
and it'll be interesting to see what kind of requirements are needed for people to go back to school and work and things of that nature. So I think we're on the right track though.
Right, and from here with VMS, we're still very much telecommuting with our employees and limiting the amount of people that are coming into the office, and we'll continue to operate that way for, I would say, a substantial time, clearly to the end of the year, and then we'll see at the beginning of the year how we can phase back in, and as we indicated to GRF, probably once we see a vaccine in place, that's when we can see actually implementation of reopening facilities.
Right. And speaking of facilities, we all know that tennis and paddle tennis and pickleball are real popular sports here in our community. You've done some changes with the reservation process, and we just want to share that with our community.
Sure. As of yesterday, basically, we started a new reservation online program, and it's much easier to access and get on and get your court reserved. We have a number of people out there, though, that we know that don't have an app on their phone or don't have a computer access that's comfortable for them. They can still make the reservation by calling the recreation department to get access to those courts. But we know that this reservation system, because we tested it out quite strongly, is much easier to access and much easier to control the courts and make sure people get their time slotted. If this continues to work effectively, then we'll take the same reservation system will be able to be used for our pools too.
Oh, great.
Which is that's the next step.
Sure.
But right now we're just working with the two activities that we know real well that we can get online first and make that work.
Well, that's good because obviously there's going to be many changes when we all get back to normal, and that is a positive change that can continue on for our community, and obviously it's going to help staff time as well.
Correct.
And then calling, writing down phone number, getting back, that process sometimes can have a bump in the road, and this way we can get it all done digitally, basically. And get people on the course.
It certainly will make it smoother. The old system was convoluted, and we had a lot of telephone call reservations versus online. So we're trying to move towards more online registration, but we will have, like I said, for those that don't have that service or don't have that capability, we will still be able to get you a reservation via phone.
That's good news. Well, we have the GRF meeting starts on Tuesday. Unbelievable, like you said, it's September 1st already. That'll be their first meeting for September. This is going to be the budget process during this month.
It is. So starting back in June and even before that, staff putting together the budgets and everything, and then we went through what we call version 1 and version 2 with the boards. And after version 2, that was their televised meeting, if you recall that you guys helped put on. So after they finished with version 2, that basically is their solid budget is done then. And now we put it into a resolution form, and that resolution is formally adopted at their board meetings in September. So like you said, Tuesday GRF is the first one, followed by United, and then followed by Third.
Right. And it looks like the budgets are pretty good. The board members and directors seem to be in agreement in most part with the budget, and VMS staff and especially the finance department did a wonderful job in trying to put this together for everyone.
And so the real important thing I wanted to mention about that, and I appreciate that, is with regards to GRF and United, they are looking at a zero increase in their base assessments. GRF And that certainly affects. When GRF keeps theirs at 0, that means United and Third don't have the impact that residents do. With regards to United, their assessment is at 0 growth, and that's staying the same as last year's. The caveat on that I want to mention, obviously, is they get on the kind of the back end their property tax and property insurance separately. So we're still anticipating an increase there because of the unfortunate increased costs that we're seeing with regards to property insurance. And we're still working on that and hope to have all of our insurance locked in by October 1st.
Right, and those are two things that we really can't control. I mean, we all get property taxes and we're like, wow, that's a lot more than last year's, but it goes by property value, and the county kind of, county does, start that process. And then, like you said, with the fires we've been experiencing even up north, I mean, that affects the entire state, and that affects our community. So those rates will go up.
And it's difficult because we're now in this, we saw the rates go up last year. We also saw the insurance carriers change and what they would be willing to carry and what they're not willing to carry. And that continues on this year. And I think an example of that is what you're talking about is everybody's seeing these fires up in Northern California, and what's the impact on the insurance business. It may not be substantial this year because you're kind of getting locked in, but that may be if there's a lot of claims that come out of that, it may be the insurance companies in next year drop out of the equation. And that's what we saw. We had the hurricanes. You have 2 hurricanes that hit the Gulf Coast back to back, and fires here in the West. And there's fires all over the western United States, not just California. It's Colorado and Wyoming and those states. A lot of fires. So that really does impact the overall prospect of how we're going to do insurance, and that's what we're looking at right now. What are some alternatives? Is there a different way to look at insurance? And all of them are looking at that right now.
And one of the interesting items too is your insurance premiums expire in October. And yet the budget is, usually a calendar. So, we got to kind of work with that and anticipate what those costs might be, which is difficult to do.
Exactly. That's really the challenge right now, is because of the way it's structured. We put the budget all together and we kind of, estimate what it's going to be, and then hopefully, our broker's done a good job to keep it in line with that. But it will be interesting to see how we do this year, and then going forward. I think we're all looking at, is there a new way that we can look at it? Is there ways that we can modify it so the impact's not as great?
Right, absolutely. Well, before we let you go, we want to remind the residents too that we're going to have a meeting on Monday that'll be live here on Village Television at 10:30. And that'll be an election of Golden Rating Foundation officers.
Right. They have a position that they have a vacancy right now, and they need to fill. And this is because their election rules and everything. They could keep a position open. It's a certain amount of days before their regular election, but this one is beyond that. So they went ahead and advertised, and this will fill that position. It'll be a short-term fill, but then that position will be up for election again. And so that I would suspect the person that gets elected would be running for it again.
Right, obviously. Okay, great. Well, we want to encourage you to be sure and tune into that. That's going to be at 10:30 on Monday here on Village Television. I believe they have about 6 candidates for that one position. So we look forward to bringing that to you. Thanks so much for joining us on the program today. We hope you enjoy your weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. That's Jeff Parker. He's our Chief Executive Officer for Village Management Services, and he brings us an update usually every Monday and Friday of each week, and we appreciate that. We'll be back with more right after this.
That we're asking Americans to do a lot right now. So we're asking everyone to be selfless for others so that we can protect those who are most susceptible to this virus.
A question I often get asked is, why should young people care about the spread of coronavirus? Well, we know that people with underlying medical conditions over the age of 60 are at highest risk, but they've got to get it from somebody.
Social distancing is really physical separation of people.
It's what we refer to when we ask people to stay at least 6 feet apart.
Not going to bars, not going to restaurants, not going to theaters where there are a lot of people. It all just means physical separation so that you have a space between you and others who might actually be infected or infect you.
We all have a role to play in preventing person-to-person spread of this disease, which can be deadly for vulnerable groups. For more information on how you can social distance, please go to coronavirus.gov.
Well, it's been pretty hot lately, and you know, it just could be getting hotter here, and it is summertime, so why not make a delicious cold smoothie? So we have a couple different ones we want to tell you about. The first one is a fresh mango smoothie. 1 cup mango, 1 cup plain non-fat yogurt or vanilla, a half a cup of crushed ice, and if it's a little too thick, you can always add milk or water to it. So that sounds absolutely delicious. Watermelon with ginger and lime. 2 cups of chopped watermelon, juice of 1 small lime, 1 tablespoon chopped fresh mint, and 1 teaspoon grated fresh ginger root. Now the ginger root gives it a kick, and it also helps with any tummy issues you may be having. So that might be a delicious one to try. Blueberry kale smoothie. Now this has 3/4 to 1 cup orange juice, 1/2 to 3/4 cups blueberries, 2 cups kale, and that is it. So that looks pretty good. And you mix that all together and you've got yourself a delicious blueberry kale with some delicious good for you stuff. We have ginger plum smoothie, 1 ripe plum, fresh or frozen, pitted but not peeled, 1/2 cup of orange juice or other fruit juice, 1/2 cup of plain yogurt, or 1 banana, and 1 teaspoon grated fresh ginger. And that's got a lot of flavors in it, so that sounds like a really delicious one. Then we have the blood orange and strawberry smoothie, and I am super partial to the blood oranges that you can get at Trader Joe's. They're nice and small, so you can just peel them and you can throw them right in. 2 cups or 16 ounces of blood orange juice, 1 cup fresh or frozen strawberries, 3/4 cup or 6 ounces of vanilla yogurt, 2 tablespoons honey, 4 ice cubes, and you garnish with 4 fresh strawberries or orange slices or minced sprigs. Now, actually, this one sounds like the best one to me, so give that one a try. Now, here's a yummy one, Virgin Miami Vice. 1 ounce pineapple juice, 1 ounce coconut cream, 1/2 ounce of half and half, 1.5 ounces of strawberry puree, 1.5 ounces of lime juice, 1/4 ounce of simple syrup, 1 cup ice crushed, and to garnish it off, a nice strawberry. And this one sounds super fresh and kind of similar to a pina colada. Coconut banana smoothie is the last one I have. Put in ice about a handful or 2, 2 large bananas, 1.5 cups non-fat vanilla soy milk, 1/4 cup low-fat or non-fat vanilla yogurt, and 1 teaspoon of chocolate hazelnut spread, such as Nutella. Now, any of these recipes, you could always add some whey protein to, so you could even turn it into a meal and not just a snack. So, absolutely delicious. So enjoy your hot days with your delicious ice-cold smoothies.
Summer is here. Diane's Hallmark has everything you need to make summer cool. From clothing to jewelry to unique one-of-a-kind gifts, Diane's Hallmark is the place to go. Diane's also has a large religious section as well. Come in today to see it all. Diane's Hallmark is located in the Walmart Shopping Center.
Hiring a realtor you trust is the first step in selling your home. Selecting an escrow company that can safeguard your money and personal information throughout the transaction is the next step. Escrow Options will guarantee the safety of your personal information and funds from the risks of wire fraud and cyber theft. Choose the escrow company that works for you. Escrow Options Group, protecting consumer assets in escrow since 2005.
COVID-19 is a serious respiratory disease. There are simple steps we can all take to stay healthy and protect our community. Wash your hands for 20 seconds with soap and warm water. Clean and disinfect frequently touched surfaces daily. Cover coughs and sneezes with a tissue or elbow and avoid touching your face. If you do have symptoms like cough and fever, stay at home and call your doctor. When we all do our part, we can keep California healthy. For more information, visit covid19.ca.gov.
Well, don't forget that today we do have our Friday movies, and that's going to be at 2 o'clock and 7 o'clock today. And today's movie is Portrait in Black. It stars Lana Turner, Anthony Quinn, Sandra Dee, and John Saxon. It is sponsored by Memorial Care, and we appreciate their help in bringing those movies to our community. And that's going to be 2 o'clock with subtitles. And this is a very interesting movie. I happened to just catch the end of it, and I think you'll find that pretty interesting. But obviously it's about a shipping tycoon who becomes ill, and this doctor comes to visit him and take care of him at his estate. And his wife, I guess, seems to like the doctor in some ways. So it's a very interesting movie. I think many of you have probably seen it and remember it from, I believe it was 1960, and that is Portrait in Black, and it does run about 2 hours. You can watch it at 2 o'clock with subtitles and then 7 o'clock without. Well, let's take you outside. We're going to go outside and see what the weather's like, you know, for the last 20 minutes or so. It looks beautiful out there. If you get a chance to get out there, it's going to be about 85 degrees, 64 overnight. And then look at those temperatures, low 80s. Sunday especially is going to be a beautiful day, a little bit lower temperature. And some of those overnight temperatures, of course, are nice, you know, beautiful clear skies. The moon is out, beautiful stars a little bit later. And 64 degrees on a Sunday evening sounds pretty good. Temperatures are pretty good, and weather, of course, here in Southern California, much better than some of the other things that are happening throughout the country, and especially in that Gulf region of New Orleans and Texas as well. So we do have those people in our thoughts as well during this very difficult time with that hurricane that approached in the last couple of days. Well, that'll do it for our edition of This Day for this Friday, August 28th. I'm Paul Ortiz, and enjoy your time right here in Laguna Woods Village.
For the sweaty faces and the hidden smiles, the foggy glasses and the sore ears, the determined looks and the muffled laughs. A simple piece of fabric makes a big statement. I care. Let's all do our part to slow the spread. Wear a mask. Learn more at covid19.ca.gov.
Now there's a new way to buy a new Lexus. It's called Car Dash, only available at SouthCountyLexus.com. It's amazingly simple. Visit SouthCountyLexus.com, select and reserve your new or pre-owned vehicle that comes with a 5-day love it or leave it guarantee. Apply for credit, calculate your payment, and even appraise your trade-in. You can even have the vehicle delivered, all online, saving you valuable time. Push a button, get a Lexus. At South County Lexus, different is amazing.